Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talking Initiative, where we talk about the end of Strahd, which everyone's so happy for. Welcome to Talking Initiative, where we talk about...
Copyright infringement.
So before we get started, we have some special guests here for us to discuss the finale and penultimate episode and the unfortunate things that happened throughout. So let's go around and introduce ourselves for people who may not know us. If you don't, then this is a weird place to be. I'm Josh Perault, and these were the last two episodes that I am DMing for Taking Initiative's main campaign. Morgan, who are you?
Hi, I'm Morgan. I play Charlotte in this last Strahd campaign. Also Roz. Hello. Welcome.
Mr. Buckmaster.
I'm Mr. Buckmaster, also known as Jonathan and Bucky. I played Ven.
Nick.
And Arsene.
That's true.
That is true. Hi, guys. I'm Nick. I played Kent Brickwood of the East Farthing Brickwoods.
Drew.
The entire campaign. I made it to the end.
Speaking of people who have not made it to the end with one character, Drew.
I'm Drew, and I played, Mikhail, Abraham, Ferguson, and finally Krusk.
Sage.
I'm Sage. I play the NPC Esmeralda.
And Celeste.
Hi, everybody. I'm Celeste Conowich. I played your short-lived lover boy, Van Richten.
This is going to be an extra long episode of Talking Initiative because there's a lot to talk about. We have a lot of questions, and this is the final episode of Talking Initiative for this entire campaign. So we're going to try and get everything answered as much as possible and talk about everything that happened. So before we get started, does anyone have anything to start off with? Any words of anything that has to do with the podcast at all?
Nick, a faraway high five for surviving the entire game.
Woo!
All right, that feels real braggy. I don't like brag so much.
Listen, I just hid behind everyone that was bigger than me the entire campaign. I made it to the end.
Feel like Charlotte contributed a great deal.
This doesn't add to anything, but for probably the last third of the campaign could not think of Kent's last name, like Kent Brickwood of the East Farthing Brickwoods at all. I was like, it's Kent.
I didn't say it enough. I need to keep reiterating it.
Let me remind you.
I kept trying to be like Farthingwood. That's not it.
That's not it.
So, episode 53 being the penultimate episode. We did start a new tradition. Nick.
Oh no!
53. What happened, man? What did we do?
Okay, so we were in the crypt, right? Were we already in the crypt?
We started in the crypt.
And Van Richten was like, "Oh no!" And he was under some sort of mental control, and we all were like, "Pew pew pew," and stab and shoot and run away. And a zone of silence was cast. And we all, while Bucky was on search for the holy symbol of Ravenkind.
A holy butt plug of Ravenkind.
Yeah.
Holy butt plug of Ravenkind.
Can I insert that Esmeralda was attacking the bejesus out of us?
Oh, yes.
I felt personally very fucking attacked.
But
Yeah.
that was the point.
It felt like a three-way battle. I don't really know that Van Richten and Esmeralda were on the same side, but I know that it was just like everybody was after everybody, and we managed to Esmeralda cast a zone of silence, and I was able to get Van Richten alone and reveal that I was under the thrall of Strahd the entire time. Mwahaha! Brilliant acting by me. Thank you.
And the Oscar goes.
They love me. They really love me. So then, unfortunately, we had to say goodbye to Van Richten. I'm so sad. We convinced Esmeralda to come join us against our fight against Strahd to take him down for the last time. And we go after him. We find him in
In the father's?
The father's tomb.
father's tomb.
Well, this is the end of episode 53. Quick addendum here. Charlotte cast the silence after casting Greater Restoration on Esmeralda and freed her very quickly from
Wait,
a long
Raph-
time of Strahd controlling.
Rafnak in the chat said Van R.I.P. Van
Van
Richten.
Thanks,
Can we get
Chris.
an F in the chat for Van Richten? Get us an F in the chat for Van Richten.
Yep.
Boy,
Yeah.
So yeah, before we move on to episode 54, let's
Yeah.
dissect a little bit of episode 53. The first thing I want to go into is Celeste and Sage. There was a lot of questioning of how we went into this, how much we prepped beforehand, either with my help with that or you guys talking together. So would you guys like to go into that process of how you went into this session?
We plotted to murder them all.
all of them. We were like,
What?
we were building our
What?
spell list
I
to be
had no idea.
compatible. It was great. It was gonna go so well before you guys messed it all up.
Oh, and while we were like messaging constantly back and forth, like, okay, so like our general strategy is gonna be like to go in like swinging, and our goal is to at least take one of them down.
Wow, the truth.
Thought we were friends.
So when Josh reached out and was like, oh, I want Van Richten to come back, and after this amount of time, basically it was, okay, you're coming back, here's the situation, go. And I was like, why? Oh god, no. But I had to fight all of my feelings and murder my sweet student Ken, or at least try. So we just had to commit to taking you down as fast as possible. And it was really cool. Josh let us like kind of rebuild our spell list and play with like the NPCs too in ways that would really make sense for gearing up for that fight specifically. So that was really cool to, I guess, be on the villain side for the episode. I can't say I've ever run an NPC specifically with the intention of hurting the party before. So that was a pretty cool little experiment for me.
And I did distinctly stay out of your planning of what to do.
Yes.
Because I wanted to see what you guys came up with yourselves. I did not want to interfere with that at all, and I wanted to be surprised from a DM standpoint. What I have not said yet is the reason why Van Richten was changed. I don't know if I may have told a couple of you, but there's one very specific moment in the campaign that caused Van Richten to be on the wrong side of things. And that moment is the brazier room. The first time into the castle, Van Richten was going to be in the father's tomb with Strahd and Esmeralda, halfway to death, being tortured, trying to be charmed. And that would have ended with you guys trying to save Van Richten in the process, but having to fight Strahd and Esmeralda simultaneously. Because you guys were bamped out of the castle, that caused me to have to think of a consequence, but not really harm the party in the process, because you guys made a very smart decision. It followed the text of what you guys were supposed to do, but at the same time, like, if I cause damage or cause like one of you guys to very particularly like feel this from a character, not like a role-playing way, but like a character level, I feel like that would have been very messed up. So what I did was, that time being out of the castle caused Strahd to be able to charm Van Richten in that interim, causing him and Esmeralda to be the mini bosses beforehand. So that was my thinking on that front. Yeah.
I like it. I like that. I like that, like that character progression, even when we're not around, kind of thing. Not just this is reset and we're going back to Van Richten being, fighting against being charmed. No, you have to deal with the consequences. That's it. You took time and you lost them, kind of thing.
Yeah, that was to repeat it slightly. That was a really hard thing to do, because having consequences for your party, which is something Morgan has chanted during our games all the time, of consequences for your actions. That was a very interesting and problematic time that I had. I spent a lot of time pacing, trying to figure out what to do with that, and that's kind of where I landed. But yeah, that's that part. Kent, Mr. Nicholas Figueroa.
Hi.
How did you feel during those two sessions, which were Saturday and Sunday sessions? We did this back to back. Going into this knowing you had to attack your friend and mentor?
So it was kind of I kind of like hinted at it the last talking initiative, but it was kind of a mixed bag. You know, I'm very sad that at the end of the game, again at this point I don't know how it's going to turn out. So Josh is telling me, all right, well, you know, now you have this ulterior motive and you're being controlled. You're not 100% yourself. So in the back of my mind, I'm saying, oh, that sucks. Like, what if we get all the way to the end and Kent is, you know, ends up on the wrong side of this? You know, we don't know how this is going to pan out. But I love the idea of Josh throwing me this, like, after I got past that sadness, I got really into the fact of, you know, really playing this role where Kent is hiding what his true intentions are with the party, and he still loves his friends, but also he's under the control of this evil force. So going into it, I kind of mirrored the Celeste and Sage situation where I was like, all right, well, if I'm going to do this and this is going to be the end of the story, and if I'm going to go out as you know, under Strahd's control, I'm going to do it 100%. So I, you know, fully committed, fully like tried to plan out, you know, 8 steps ahead what I could do. But I really, really did enjoy it. Thank you for challenging me, Josh. That was rough.
Thank you for diving in.
Yeah, I just want to add on too, like, I loved how that ended up shaking out, like, as something Strahd did to us. It was like, because we were both under Strahd's control, sent to kill each other. And that feels like a really poetic, horrible thing, like a mastermind vampire would do to you, as opposed to just sending a mini boss, like, in a room.
Yeah.
Just that dramatic irony there, that would make it hurt so much more. That felt really like a really sweet DM move. Not for the players. That was horrible and heartbreaking. But
So no one wins.
no one
Exactly.
wins ever. Yep.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna get hurt, and it's gonna be somebody's fault.
Well, we had been told since the beginning that Strahd loves to play with his, you know, his victims, and so this was like one last game for him.
Yeah, Castle was bringing this up, and I was talking to him at work about this as well, of not seeing the drive of having 2 people charmed attacking each other, because then you're just kind of canceling people out, and that's kind of weird. But it wasn't necessarily for that physical bit, because from a DM point, I knew Morgan had 2 abilities to cast Greater Restoration, 2 of which were probably going to be Esmeralda and Van Richten, not knowing about Kent. So I was fully expecting both of them to be healed up, and then Kent coming in later and wrecking house and having no ability to heal him at all. And then he's out of the last battle.
Knocked his ass out, fucking stabilized him, and dealt with that later.
It's like one
He's
bop
got
on
like
the head.
6 hit points.
So that's what I expected to happen. I was not sure that Van Richten was going to die that quickly. And Celeste, I forgot if we talked about if you would be dealing with potential death. I guess both of you figured it maybe because you guys were going in as villains on this session.
Right. We definitely never talked about it specifically, but obviously, you know, we're fighting the party, so
Yeah.
and it was only 2 of us versus 4. So, you know, the odds weren't great. So I was ready to die. I guess I just wasn't quite ready for the double blind side. I love that you didn't tell me about that at all either. And then when Nick did that, and I was like, why? Why, Nick? What? Shit.
I understand I'm trying to kill you right now, but you're not supposed to try to kill
What?
me.
This only goes one way.
This got real personal.
Yeah, for people who we may have talked about it or not, but during the session where Strahd and Kent had their conversation, when everyone took off their headphones, Celeste and Sage were sitting in on that entire session, but they also took their headphones off. So that conversation really was just Nick and myself, and no one else heard what that conversation until the episode dropped and when Bucky was editing it. So that was, I did not want you guys to know. And I'm glad it kind of worked out in a very poetic way, especially Celeste. I know personally Van Richten's one of your favorite characters.
I love him so much.
So
He's so tortured and messed up, and of course he would die like that.
It's a very Celeste character to play.
Oh boy.
So Morgan and Drew and John, you guys coming into this from a different angle. What did you guys think of walking into that fight? What you guys were going to be up against? especially not knowing what was coming from any angle.
That was an interesting fight because frankly, I had been very spoiled up until this point because Ven usually came out swinging, so every like enemy went and attacked Ven first, so I got to like pot shot from the side, and that was not the strategy of Ven Richten and Esmeralda. It was kill the cleric. So I felt so at that first part of the fight, I was like, what the fuck? I just like tagged right now.
What happens with the healers?
Yeah, so that was a different strategy because I was like suddenly having to deal with a lot of that, and that was hard. That fight was interesting because we all had very different ideas about how things were going to go down, and trying to enact all of those. Like, Kat, sorry. She's been stuck in the bedroom for like days and hasn't wanted to go out. And the second I have the door closed, she's like, I need to get out. I need to get out immediately. Here, hold on. I'm just going to open the door. I'm so sorry. Oh no, she got out. She's crafty. Great. So that was interesting. I was starting to suspect things about Kent, but I didn't want to metagame because I didn't know if Charlotte would. But that was interesting. One point of correction, Esmeralda did not cast the silence bubble. That was me. And everybody had very strong feelings about it in my recollection. And most of them were negative. Listening back on it, though, I still think it was a good idea. Because I had this whole plan of like, okay, if we can get Van Richten in a place where he can't cast spells and we can subdue him, then we can maybe come back to him after we kill Strahd and kind of like clean that up. Like clean him up, get him all set. I could like rest and do another Greater Restoration. The reason why I didn't cast 2 Greater Restorations is that I had is it Dawn?
I think it's Dawn.
I had the 5th level spell that would generate sunlight.
It was daylight.
Daylight, yes. Or Dawn. I can't remember which one.
I think Dawn just gives you light. I think daylight.
Okay.
Actual sunlight.
So I was really scared of burning that second spell slot, so I didn't want to blow it on that. So that's why I was reserving it. But my idea was, okay, let's plop Van Richten into the bubble of silence. And then everybody was like, no, I have very different ideas about how that's going to go down. So there was a big kerfuffle there, but I think ultimately, like the way that session went down, that episode went down was like tragic for us as characters, but like ultimately a really good story arc and character moment for Kent. This sort of gut-wrenching moment. And I rolled a natural 20, I think, with Charlotte on figuring out what was going on with him.
Yes. I think Nick rolled a 2 or a 4.
I think one of the like small comedic effects that we did in that was Josh being like, he's the worst faker you've ever seen, and it's probably because he still has Van Richten's gun in his hand, pointed at his own shoulder.
Because I wouldn't even think to like toss
fucking dumbass. So that was very sad, and it was, I think, a good moment for both Charlotte and Kent. But yeah, that's how I felt about it.
Drew, what about you? Oh, sorry, Morgan, cut you off.
Nope, I was just very obsessed with the time limit.
Yeah, the time limit was a big thing. I was not expecting, honestly, was not expecting Nick to go dark side at all. Kent was too much of a lovable goofball to ever be considered a threat, which is great because that's who you want to be the threat, but wasn't expecting what happened. The Van Richten Esmeralda fight, yeah, I kind of thought it was going to be bad, and it was. But yeah, that's where I landed on that.
Yeah, the moment where, John, you did a very good job editing this episode, where everyone's gasping when Nick was like, "I fire again" after he went down. I was like, "What?
Mm-hmm.
Oh!" And you just hear everyone understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna cut that.
No. But John, what do you think? Because you took a very different approach than you did the last couple fights.
So there's a very famous GIF that everyone knows of from the show Community, where Donald Glover, as his character Troy, walks in with pizzas and the entire apartment is on fire. That was Ven this episode, where he was been in a hole the whole fucking game. The whole game, he was in a hole trying to get the butt plug of Ravenkind, and he like getting all these things, and then finally scratches his way out through with the help of Krusk, and then he's like, "Okay, what happened? Oh fuck."
I will keep saying
everything's bad.
you keep saying the butt plug of Ravenkind, and I know it's like this big ass statue, so I'm just dying.
Because the way you described it was like a star symbol with a gem right in the center, and immediately I cut it out because it was too fucking. I couldn't do it because it was gonna kill the mood. But like as soon as he described it, both Drew and Morgan started dying fucking laughing, and I was like, I can't keep that in because this is super serious. But
but also you didn't fight. You ran off to get the holy symbol.
I was told to go get the holy symbol.
Yeah.
So I did, and that was what my plan was going to be from the beginning, to go run and get it. Because I was like, I mean, it's 4-on-2. They can handle themselves. I feel like they're capable, and I trust my party members to fend for themselves. So I can go get this thing so we can get this fucking show on the road. I did not know that coming out of a hole, all of a sudden, all my friends were going to be sad and crying, and one of them did.
Yeah. So that was the fight. Does anyone else have anything to add about the fight itself? I did want to ask you, Sage, in particular. You listening back to it, I started to understand a little bit better with Esmeralda. Even though she was back, she seemed incredibly confused still. I'm guessing it's because of the year being under this influence.
Oh yeah, like I imagine, because like being in such a dark place and under the control of someone who's so like powerful and whose like very essence like pervades every square inch of the land you're in, like just because like it's like dispelled from your mind doesn't mean it's ever truly gone, you know, because he is the land. And so yeah, so it's like, and I imagine that like all of a sudden if you're totally like focused on doing this one thing and then it's just like gone, like that would be like an incredibly jarring experience. So I felt like that was appropriate way for her to react.
That was something, listening back, I still was confused at some points where I was like talking to Josh in the car as we were listening to it. I was like, I just don't understand. I'm trying to save, like Charlotte's trying to save Van Richten and she's like, nope, I'm gonna fucking kill him myself. And I was like, but hey, I'm trying to help. And Josh is exactly the same. It's like, you know, she's been under the control of Strahd for like a year. Like, you have to understand that that's not like a totally in control person. It's like, okay.
Well, it's like she didn't know who didn't like really know who you were, like knows about all of you pretty much, but doesn't like and we were just in combat. How there's no way for her to be able to entrust your attentions because she's a very skeptical, distrustful person by nature. And so it's just like, oh, now you're saying that you're going to save him? Like, no. And then wait, you're going to kill him? No. If anyone is taking him down, it's me.
Yeah. And Charlotte is such a like genuinely like goody two shoes good person that she's like, what else would I be doing? Like, there's absolutely no thought in Charlotte's mind to be like, let's not save him. Like, of course she was like, I'm gonna greater restoration you. I'm gonna help him too. So there was a lot of yelling that got cut. I'm so sorry. And bad player etiquette. I think that time I've been working on it. But it was something that I was confused as like a character for Charlotte, because Charlotte is so genuinely good that I was a little lost by it. But it makes sense. It totally makes sense.
There's a lot of emotions during that game, in character, out of character. Like, this was...
Oh, man, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Seriously.
2 years building up to this moment and having friends you've made their lives on the line and not being able to trust, and then someone you're traveling with to all of a sudden flip-flop. Like, there was a lot. And then we end the episode with a fireball from the ceiling, which I will describe why that was the case and why you guys were not able to see him, and then I'll have someone explain the finale, which I think I want Nick to do still, if you guys are okay with it, because I'm pretty sure Raph was like, I love Nick's recaps. And you know what?
He's always the recapper.
Yep.
All right.
So the fireball, the reason that was able to happen was Strahd polymorphed into a bat and has been flying around that ceiling the entire time. So he was able to see everything going on. He then, when you guys finished the short rest and the hour was up, which I did describe that there was slightly less than a half an hour left, he came out, he fireballed, and then he polymorphed back into a bat. And during his legendary actions, and when the bats flew in around the statues, is when he went in as well. And then he polymorphed back into himself. So when you guys were rolling really high for perceptions, that's why you couldn't see him, because he wasn't himself.
He wasn't there.
I have a quick thing to add here, and that's thanks for ruining bats for me, Josh.
You're welcome?
No.
Blame Perkins.
No. I'm offended.
So Nick, that whole finale, man, like I know you know it like the back of your hand. Go ahead. Do it.
Okay, all right, hold on. So, like you said, Strahd fireball, then sneaks up into the bats and is like, peace out. And then we all were like cowering back and we're like, oh, where is he? And then of course he wasn't even in the room. So then we like proceed forward and Esmeralda's and we get to like this barrier, like a curtain, right?
Yep.
That
it was a light curtain.
And Esmeralda's like, I think there's like a little hole right here. Let's send the little person in to like turn this barrier down. So I like reached in, hit the button, and the barrier comes down. And as we proceed forward, we come across Strahd, and he's just like, it's time to die. And then we like start attacking, and Van and Ismark head forward. And then for some reason, we're like blocked by
a force barrier.
A force barrier?
That was a real pain.
Yeah. And then I believe some of the party go off to try to find the
brazier.
The brazier. Yep. The brazier to jump into the room that Strahd went into, which I think was actually a really smart idea because we didn't know when these walls were coming down. And then they're still going. They're moving. And then it's just a few of us, and I'm shooting the barrier. We can't get down. Ven is like doing some really good damage, and Strahd's like, "Oh, you're under my control now, Ven. Be a good man, just like Kent. You know, like same thing." Tries to do the same thing, and then Arsene comes out of nowhere from the inside and fights off Strahd's control, and then takes control, and then just starts tearing into him. And Ismark's in the corner just doing stuff.
And Ben is doing all this things. Ismark's there too, and he's doing all this things.
And then
bleeding out.
and then Ven gets a hit, and all of a sudden Kent like loses some hit points. We'll come back to that later because I don't really know, and I need to ask Josh about that again. And then I take Maureen out. And the shields come down, and I run forward and I take Maureen out, and Ven has Strahd pinned, and Maureen comes and stabs him through the heart with both daggers, and Strahd dies. And everyone's like, oh, the control is gone, and everyone feels great. And then all of a sudden, the rest of the team is like, all right, it's time to get into that room because our teammates are probably dying, and Strahd is so strong and powerful. And then they go into the wrong room.
We end up at a different tomb.
Tomb.
You end up in Strahd's bedroom.
We ended up in Strahd's bedroom.
Yeah, and then Vampire Spawns.
Somehow.
Vampire Spawns came out, and then you guys destroyed them like crazy because you guys were so OP right now. You just slice.
Point of order. I tried to be friends.
You apologize.
Esmeralda was having none of it. She's like, no. I fucking came here to fight some vampires. If I don't get to kill a single one, I'm gonna be so mad. All y'all gonna die again.
So then they stop the vampires, and we all meet up together, and we're all like, and then it's us leaving the town. And we run into Cyrus one last time. That ends awkwardly and terribly. And then we say goodbye to Van Richten. And the rest of the party goes off and starts heading already into town. Right?
They go to Argynvost Holt with Argynvost's head.
Argynvost's head.
Yeah.
Bucky, before we leave the castle, goes and gets the head of Argynvost, and brings it back and lays it to rest. Oh wait, and then don't you like destroy a spirit in an amulet?
Yeah, that was
Vladimir.
Vladimir. Yeah.
Broke it.
He was like, where is everyone? I was trying to do this whole dramatic scene where I was like, you will join him soon. shit, fuck, it's not working.
And then glue them back together.
And then Crust was like, let me do this, and then just shattered it to pieces, and everyone was like, yeah, he's still in the gem. He's just in 1,000 pieces now. We're like, shit, we should sweep him up. Let's sweep him up and
I
get
had
him
to use
back.
like divine interference for that.
I think you just used Dispel Magic.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
And then we have all of our like post-credit singers of all of our lives as they progress, which I think there are a bunch of questions about. So I don't know if I want to spoil any like insider information.
It's all good. Also, you and Esmeralda put Van Richten's body to rest.
Body to rest.
We had a little funeral.
We have a little funeral
With your
scene.
X-Men quote.
Yeah.
I got it. That was a last minute decision because I felt like somebody was going to ask me what to say right before.
Well, I cut out you going like, okay, give me a minute. I just want to make sure
Like
that this
honest,
is good.
like
And I knew you were gonna do something.
I was like, I know
dumb.
this.
I'm
I know
like,
this.
wait, I was like, Nick is gonna do something so stupid. What is it?
It started and you were like, Joey. I'm like, who's Joey?
But yeah, then we say goodbye to Van Richten, and we all go our separate ways.
Yeah. And then there's some epilogue stuff afterwards.
Epilogue stuff.
Where we find out that Kent has been the narrator the whole time. So,
yeah. So Krusk and Charlotte go off and get married and have a baby.
Oh,
they've been married.
Okay, sorry. They,
They've
get
been
married.
married the whole
They have a
time.
wedding. They have a vow renewal.
Ross was
And
very upset that she didn't get to go for the wedding.
They have a barbecue in the backyard and renew their vows.
Exactly. That's exactly what it was.
and Ven takes me home to meet his friends and family.
Makes you
And
home, all right.
take me home, country road.
What?
Virginia.
Water deep, yeah.
What happens to Esmeralda? That's what I want to know.
That's a good question.
Esmeralda wouldn't have believed that Strahd is truly gone and would have stayed in Barovia to continue to be on the lookout for future evils.
That's
She
fair.
feels like she's like the protector of this land. And it's like nothing's ever really done here.
Gotcha.
Meanwhile, you go back to Van Richten's tower, and she's just sitting up on a lawn chair with a Budweiser out in front of the lake, just like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Come back any day now.
Just rocking
God.
on the porch, just like
The rest of Barovia moves on. There's and they just walk by Esmeralda like,
yeah.
there she is.
she's got like a musket and like a spittoon where she spits her chewing tobacco.
Has anybody seen that episode of Buffy where she deals with Dracula and like she like stakes him and he like turns to smoke or like dust and then he starts to reform and she's like, I'm right here. I'm gonna do I'm like she stakes him again.
Yeah.
And he starts reforming. She's like, I'm right here. It's like, oh, okay. It's just floats away. So like that. It's just like
I imagine the kids of Barovia that are growing up in this like much better town are scared of Esmeralda and like they'll run to their parents and be like, that scary woman. We like, what's wrong with? And be like, no. She's been through some stuff. The reason why we have what we have, it's her. So
like
she's
your
good.
grandma from the Depression who still worries her money outside.
You leave her alone.
She
and you
lived
take
through
her-
difficult times, honey.
Yeah.
Take her this basket of vegetables and you don't talk to her.
Yeah. That's what I imagine.
Thank you for that recap, Nick. I believe that
Beautiful.
covered most bases. So
Yeah.
let's start back to the beginning of the episode with the curtain and stuff. There's really nothing to cover there. You guys got through, but then the real fight started with Mr. Buckmaster and some guy that we keep forgetting.
It's
His
so
name is
funny.
You know what? I was
No, I'm so
great at that. I thought I was very appreciative towards this, Mark.
I was as well, and I feel like it's just so much fun having an NPC while also having NPCs played by actual people, because you just see how much like Celeste and Sage you really put into the story, and Ismark is now just tossed aside. So like
Little cardboard.
Point of order. Ismark was played by a real human person.
Mixed recap of.
Okay,
mixed recap
yes.
of things doing
This is a
he's
human.
played by a real human person, but he's also Josh's mind is a million other places. A DM's role is very important, Morgan. I don't know if you know this, so I'm giving him. I'm not judging him on this.
From someone who's like, as someone who has experience DMing, has DM'd one game.
One game, and I didn't record it because I was afraid that it was going to be terrible.
Although Nick, to be fair, Nick's description of Vin is fighting Strahd, and Vin is doing this, and Vin is doing this. Also, Ismark's over there. That describes our entire encounter with Ismark the whole time.
We're very happy that he was here.
He's there
Mhm.
until he does something.
Which you usually kill
And then
things.
we're like,
It's yeah, but it was funny because like normally when we remembered Ismark there, he's like rolling fucking twos on his attack rolls.
Yeah,
We're like, of
Johnson.
course
And
it would
then-
be fucking Ismark.
and then Ismark attacks. 2, 2, 3. Okay, he doesn't
Of course,
do
but
anything.
yeah.
'Cause
Way
it
to
was
go,
me
Ismark.
rolling. I roll like shit. That's normal.
You do. You really do.
I really do. And you know when that didn't change? Today. For
No, you
every
roll like
game I had
garbage
to play.
today.
Disney, you rolled a natural 20 today.
Yeah, that was the one natural 20 I had in 6 hours of playing.
Excuse me, I can't wait for Nick to do recaps for that.
Mm.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
So with
Um,
that fight, John, you were in
Yeah.
that room basically by yourself. Apparently
Yep.
a real human playing an NPC was also there.
sorry.
Ismark helped.
But you,
Worked it up.
I want to go over how that fight felt for you and being alone, quote unquote, in that room with Strahd.
At first it was terrifying, and then as the gods of D&D bestowed all of their energy and power into my dice that game, it kind of felt like Ven's purpose was kind of fulfilled. This entire time, we had a long discussion about this where Ven, for the longest time after this transformation, felt useless. Because at any moment we had a boss battle or Ven tried to get in there and fight, he was either immediately taken out of the fray or like was restrained so he couldn't do anything. And it was just like battle after battle of Ven feeling like he couldn't do anything. And like he felt like this whole progression forward was kind of a mistake until this battle happened, and it just kind of worked out that it was him against Strahd. And like all of the pieces lined together with what I had planned out for Ven, because like I was like, all right, I'm going to take the Mage Slayer feat because he's actively going to go after Strahd. Like his whole mindset is doesn't matter, killed Strahd. Like he's going to take all the feats. He's going to do everything he possibly can in his power to get holy ability so he can fight Strahd and do radiant damage because vampires hate it. And I ultimately at the end built this character to fight Strahd, and then it worked. And I was like, validation. Yes.
That includes your item and your special transformation, which only existed because you didn't want to play that archetype anymore.
Yeah. I kind of didn't really like the archetype after I was playing for a while because it kind of felt like it wasn't really doing much and it wasn't really helping out. So I wanted to give a different shot and play something a little bit more tanky, a little bit more like focused on being in the front and taking the damage so that other people could focus on doing other things. Why are you laughing, Morgan?
Because you weren't tanky at all. You didn't. You weren't in the front at all.
Kinky.
Oh, kinky? Yeah. I mean, he was very
That's why I was like, what?
tanky.
You were tanky because very much like Tank, Celeste here.
Aw,
you,
tank.
you were grappling the shit out of Strahd.
Yes.
Illegal.
Tanks were made to wrestle.
Yeah, definitely. But John,
So-
I'd like to go over that in a minute. Of your
What?
pinning abilities.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So during that fight, we'll go back to the Arsene and Ven switch in a minute. I find out later that Ven can't pin because that's a fighter ability.
Yeah. No, it's not a fighter ability. It's a feat. It's
It's
a
a feat
it's a
too.
grappler feat.
Yeah.
Grappler feet.
I'm pretty sure it's a
Yeah.
maneuver for a fighter as well if you go
I
down
think it could be a maneuver as well, but it's also a part of the grappler feat.
So after knowing that, I went, well, shit, because a lot of Strahd's stuff is to move during his legendary actions. And if you're restrained or grappled, which you can grapple him anyway,
No.
he can't move. So that kind of
No.
goes away. And his strength wasn't going to be wonderful versus you. So I was literally pinned down and couldn't do anything.
No.
But that being said, anybody could really try to pin somebody else. So it's not like you try to cast a spell you couldn't cast. So as much as it wasn't part of your character, I'm also okay that it happened because it still made legitimate sense to me. So I'm okay with how that went. But the Arsene and Ven combination in that fight, and you having an inner battle during this battle, I did not think of that ahead of time. I only thought of it the day before. I went, what if Strahd tries to charm you? Are we going to have a problem? And it just worked out that he tried to charm you, and we had a problem that you also figured out immediately, and I'm glad you did.
Yeah, that kind of aligned as well, which was really cool. It was kind of like all these decisions I made kind of just finally came forward and was like, this is the reason that you exist right now, is to do this job. And it just kind of worked out very poetically, completely not intentionally, but very poetically, where not only one, all of these pieces aligned to like serve the purpose that Ven was created for. Like this whole idea that his grandmother had for him was, you are going to be a weapon to kill Strahd, which worked in the end. And ultimately it was poetic that the people who end up actually doing Strahd in were the two original Deathwalkers, which were Ven and Kent, and Ismark was a part of that team as well. Yeah. Even though he didn't die, but he was meant to be a part of that team.
And the person who got the killing blow was legitimately someone who's dead.
Right.
That, again, is one of those things that when you're running a game, or you're playing in a game, and you don't plan any of that to happen, because you can't plan all that, and it just works, it's just nice. It works beautifully. But yeah, that was really stressful to watch. It was a little weird that Strahd was just kind of put down by half the party with none of the items you got. So it really was the journey all along that gave you the experience.
We really missed out with copyright of not being able to put the fucking yakety yak song behind every time the running portion was happening.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So I wanted to move on to really Nick during that fight you were watching, very much as we described as Obi-Wan watching with Qui-Gon Jinn. And you hopped in and Maureen was there, which made Roz kind of present again in that moment. Were you cool with the fact that Roz got the killing blow and it was just you and Ven and Ismark there? Or did you wish you got a couple more shots in? How were you feeling during that moment?
I mean, personally for me playing Kent, I felt like the ending with Van Richten was a amazing story beat for Kent to end on. So I don't feel like I missed out by not having a huge fight with this big bad, because Kent had a good story moment to come to terms on, and he is there. He is in the room. He's present with his friend from the beginning. So I was totally fine with it. And honestly, I know you did not let on. You do this really great thing where as long as we don't press you, you do not let us know how our enemy is doing. So up until that moment, I got into the room, pulled Maureen out, and I was like, we need to continue fighting. This is going to be this is going to even keep on going. So I was kind of just happy that that Maureen took the final blow and Kent was not going to get damaged or hurt any more than he already had been.
It was perfectly timed because that radiant damage was what was kind of needed. I was looking through the rules at that point of like, does he just go to his coffin? Because if they end up in the room, do they need to kill him? And what kind of damage does it? And in that moment, I'm like, nah, it's done. Just kind of did it. One thing I did forget to mention to go back before we pop over to the party that was running and popped into the other room, your hit points. So, way earlier on, we had Callista explain this at some point, but the audio for it didn't end up working, and it ended up just be me explaining things. So we cut it from the episode, and we didn't go on with it. So it wasn't part of canon. But all the way back in episode 3, Kent died in the death house. And when he died, as per like some Reddit threads I was reading, it gave the idea to bring people back to life. And when you bring people back to life, you get a point of insanity, which I was perfectly okay with. So I gave that to Kent, and instead of it manifesting in a way in-game, Kent couldn't make the next session, so he was just unconscious, and that's how I did it. The insanity also carried over to Callista because she thought Bartholomew was real the whole time, and she was just batshit insane and was making things up in her head. But I had a hard time with bringing someone back to life without a real reason otherwise. In Strahd's castle, there is an item, a large glass constructed item called the Heart of Sorrow. And that Heart of Sorrow gives Strahd a bunch of temporary hit points that when he gets hit, he doesn't look like he takes damage, which is why you guys didn't see any wear and tear for a while, and it gets siphoned off to the Heart of Sorrow. What I had mechanically happen was that the Heart of Sorrow let some of those hit points go from Strahd and bring back his toys. So your maximum hit points at level 1 was replaced by the Heart of Sorrow's ability to bring you back to life. When Strahd got brought down a certain amount, the Heart of Sorrow lost its connection and came crashing down, making that tether to you completely gone. So those were the hit points all along. But yeah, that's an arc that happened from episode 3 through 54. But there was no reason to explain it because you guys never found the heart. That was just there. Yep. So when you went close to the Wizard's Tower or Van Richten's Tower, it had an anti-magic shield. So when you walked in, the magic from the Heart of Sorrow was unable to reach you. That is why you felt those effects. So there you go.
Nice. Yeah, I think the day after we recorded, you came to me in the office and you were like, you're not questioning that whole 10 hit points thing? And I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? You are right. And he's like, do you think I brought you back from the dead for nothing like that? And then you went into that explanation of, giving you back the hit points just so, because I died in the death house and was brought back. It was really cool. I was like, oh, yes.
So for Drew, Morgan, Sage, and just you guys, going back to the brazier and popping over to Strahd's tomb and seeing the vampires and such, how did you guys feel not being in that final fight, but still having the result happen, being not quite where you wanted at the time? Kind of where were you guys at?
So from a story point, great. I loved it. It made really sense. From a player point, it's very frustrating and fucking annoying that I wasn't doing anything.
It was incredibly frustrating.
Yeah.
And this is me, like, you kept coming, I was like, just tell us when we get there. And you kept coming back asking for doing stuff. And I was just like, no, Josh, please, just let me do something. Let me get there.
That was incredibly frustrating. And the fact that if Maureen hadn't had the killing blow, if it wasn't radiant damage that killed Strahd, it would have been extremely convenient that we popped into his bedroom so we could have been like, But like that acting the way it did feel like pretty anticlimactic for us. Also because we worked so fucking hard to get that symbol of butt plug Ravenkind, and then for not to be able to fucking use it, that was a little anticlimactic or a little annoying. But overall, I thought it was a really cool thing that at the end, the people that took down Strahd were the people who were there at the very beginning.
Yes.
Yeah.
Story-wise, it's great.
Story-wise, perfect. Ven and Kent together. Ismark being from Barovia. And then to have the tie-in of Maureen getting revenge for Roz, I think was thematically gorgeous. So I've made my peace with it.
Cool. I did feel bad during that fight because I did say initially when Strahd was talking to you guys in the room, there was going to be one-on-one. And the Wall of Force is not a spell normally in Strahd's repertoire, but he is a powerful guy in a land with a whole bunch of random shit in it. So I figured since he has wizard spells, he'll swap it out, grab that. He also grabbed telekinesis to throw one of you out the window at some point, but he didn't get to do that, or the Sun Sword. But I really did not think that Ven was going to just be able to take Strahd on like that. So that just really worked in your favor. You rolled so goddamn well.
I literally 1v1 off only Fox Final Destination Strahd.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
what we
she
did.
Well, Ismark did
Plus
take
Ismark
them.
there.
He soaked up some blows for
Yeah,
you.
he did.
It's true.
There's a point where
He
you
took all the damage, so I didn't.
yeah.
Yeah. I also didn't want to attack you because I had part of you charmed, and Strahd would not
Right.
have wanted to make his
Lose that.
make his help be dwindled down,
No.
or like risk not having you be charmed anymore.
Right.
So yeah, you guys find the vampires, then destroy the vampires. The whole thing with Cyrus happened. You also freed Emil from downstairs.
Yep. Yep.
Anything left in Barovia you guys want to cover before we move on to epilogue-based stuff?
I have a question.
Yeah.
And this is Sage went to go say something earlier. I accidentally cut her off. I want to know what she said. I was going to say.
When I was muted. Oh yeah, it was just what I said. It was just like extremely frustrating from like a player perspective of like, oh man, like it's like I just feel Esmeralda would be so pissed because she's been under this guy's influence for a year and she hates him so much, and then she gets back and he's dead.
Yes.
I see that someone also mentioned the symbol Ravenkind became a MacGuffin, and it was. But one big thing that came out of that was you guys leveled up from a milestone of getting it. Without
Yes,
that,
was important.
Yeah. I think you guys ended at what, level 10, level 11?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
10.
10.
There was talk about 11, but there was something else we would have done to get there, and we never did that.
Right. Now, Celeste, because you died the previous day, you were not present during this whole finale bit. So listening to all the stuff with Strahd and all this, do you have any questions about things that happened, comments of how things went? Because I know you also have run this module.
Yeah. So what I really enjoyed about, so now I'm obsessed with hearing how this final fight with Strahd went in every Curse of Strahd campaign ever, because now that I've recently run it, it always goes so differently, just because there's so many factors there with the geography of the castle, with his spell list, like who you have in the room, choosing which allies he brings with him. Like when I fought him, I had all of his brides also there for the fight, totally just bamfing people out of the room or anything. So I was just excited to hear how it was happening, because Sage had kind of told me what happened, but I was like, I don't know. So it was just really exciting to listen to. And then, seeing all of those emotional resolutions come up is also it was really rewarding. Because I feel like first time I recorded with you guys was like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah.
So I feel like I've been connected to the story in a really, personal way as well, for a long time. So it was exciting to hear it and to know the book is closing. So I just had all good feelings. I'm so glad nobody died. I was just so scared.
Well, speaking of that, how were you witnessing your own funeral during that episode?
It was nice that people, I don't know, cared, and it felt like he had an influence on the world. Because I wasn't expecting to get so attached to an NPC that I was playing like for 2 or 3 episodes. But then again, he is the only NPC I think I've played multiple times, like showing back up at different points in the story, and like his evolution is actually happening off screen and having to take that into account too. So it felt really nice that everything I put in and like I experienced his growth, and then also got to see his book closed in a way that felt good and was final. That was really rewarding and peaceful for me to experience.
It was nice seeing with you and Sage having these NPCs become PCs. You guys gave them a whole different life and look than I could have done, because I only have the one accent for this land. And
well, and it was nice too that Sage was also involved in that, since Sage and I spend a lot of time gaming together. So having a familiar, friendly voice to help that was really nice.
I would like to say also, like, Sage came in, like, also Celeste had been with us for a couple times. She got a rapport with us, and like Sage came in so prepared. and like it's so creepy. It's really good.
That's
And,
my
like,
brand.
And like the one thing that I was
Prepared and creepy.
yeah. But it was like listening. We were talking about this earlier. Like I am extremely predictable in my reactions. Like I was listening to this episode with Josh, the previous episode of the finale, with in the car with Josh, and like someone would say something, and in the car I'd be like, "Oh, yuck," and then like audio me would be like, "Oh, yuck!" Like just like
Oh my god, I do the same exact thing when I'm listening to Adventure Maidens. I make the same jokes.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I do it too. And like at one point, you took damage from, I think, Krusk. Esmeralda took damage from Krusk, and she like reaches out and touches his face and is like, "Your love will be the death of you." And like both me recorded, and I was like, "Don't touch him." Yeah. But like you did such an amazing job at like immediately
Thank you.
getting us like to have a feeling about this character, whether it was like, oh, this person's scary and like a big deal, and like the like rhymes you did and the spells you chose were really good, and like I really appreciated like the effort that you put into making this character such an impactful one for us in the last 2 episodes of our campaign, which like that was really awesome and I really appreciated.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I do have a question about those. The rhymes that you brought, did you get those from a source? Did you write them yourself? Where did those come from?
So like her like opening scene where like she comes in, I wrote those like as we were as we were doing it. I was like,
wow.
Damn.
I came with them like about 3 minutes before, and I was like, oh, I've been listening to this podcast. What are the characters? And then for Van Richten's eulogy, the poem that I selected is actually, it's one of my favorite poems that I discovered from the show, the like miniseries called Godless, which is my favorite Western. But yeah, like the way that poem's delivered at the end of that show, and I loved it, and I just like connected to it so much, and I felt like it was really appropriate for Van Richten.
Yeah.
And
really,
then
really
Nick
good.
ruined it with his Logan.
Logan. My favorite part of that is where it's like I take the cross in the ground and I turn it to an X.
What fucking cross?
Drew is like, we're putting him on a boat. There's no fucking cross.
One of my favorite things editing wise is to just cut music, and it's always paired with Nick
Yeah.
saying something.
He's the number one reason we have to stop the music in the background, because like this music's too serious and Nick's just gonna fuck it up.
Sorry.
Don't be sorry.
Don't
Don't ever be
apologize.
sorry for
Don't
that.
worry.
Never apologize.
Oh,
Yeah. All right, so out of Barovia, it's now it's 9 p.m. Eastern, so we're going to be swapping to questions soon. So what I want to do now is to hop into the epilogue and cover all this stuff that happened. The big thing we'll talk about is obviously the narrator bit, because John, Drew, and I decided on this back in Barovian Rhapsody, I believe, and just hoped that it would happen, that Kent would not die. We didn't do anything out of the way to try and keep him alive. We just had it as a hopeful finishing point. But Nick,
It was one of those
had
things
no
where
idea.
it was one of those things where we were all talking to each other, like, "Oh, wouldn't it be cool if Kent was the narrator the whole time?" Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can we make that happen now?
I also really like that it comes back from the original joke of like Nick's bad at accents, so Kent's real voice is Josh's voice. And, like that's how that all looped in.
The voice is Josh's voice, and he's only got the one Barovian accent.
Yep. So Nick, how did you feel about that? Because again, this was a complete surprise to you after 2 years.
Yeah, it was. And what was crazy is that so you were going around kind of asking everyone how they wanted their characters to end their story with this. And I kept thinking about how I wanted Kent to kind of go off and live this like solitary life after his first experience with a big adventure was a little bit too much for him to handle. So I always imagined him, not going back home, but also not going right back into another mission, kind of like living this life of just like a wandering traveler who was addicted to travel but did not want any more danger. So then when you kind of threw that in there, it worked perfectly as like this idea of Kent coming back from this like epic journey, this terrible, this rough and terrible experience, having a great moment of levity, bringing him back to who he was with Ven, going back to his home, but then realizing that, he's going to just go off and kind of no longer be a gunslinger, but be kind of like a bard, sharing his stories that he's been taking and going for throughout this whole entire story. And from the beginning, we always talked about him writing in his journal about the things that were happening. And so I kind of liked the idea of him being the person that's telling the story, and also kind of getting the itch for more travel and getting the itch for another adventure. It worked out perfectly.
This is another reason why I asked if you wanted Van Richten's hat at the end. I was going to try and find some way to make it fit, but given Van Richten's fate, it was just like, here you go. There's a flippin' hat of disguise. So yeah, it ended up working out pretty nicely for that. Now with Krusk and Charlotte, I feel like you may have planned what may have been happening after Barovia ended for a while. Was that all planned? Did you guys plan that together?
Definitely was not planned. There wasn't a document full of back and forth chatter for months on end. That was all off the cuff.
I don't believe it for a second.
We just knew how it would be.
Oh my god! I read sorry. Krusk's letter, in case he died, was just, I was crying reading it. Oh my god.
I think the nice thing about Krusk and Charlotte is that because we were kind of newcomers and because we were like to the audience, and we didn't have the same kind of matched set of baggage that the other characters did. Like, we could have like a very uncomplicated, very cheesy happy ending. So we went hard into that one. But yeah, that letter was some rough stuff. Charlotte was not gonna deal with it. She's gonna be like, nope. It's time for fucking resurrection, my good fucking dude.
Wow. There would have been so many marital fights after that.
And Ven, I don't know if I'm still calling you guys by your characters, so deal with it. Ven and Arsene are separated at the end. Do we want to go into potentially what happened, or would you like to leave that open-ended?
No, I can go into it. Because I don't really think that there's any other time that I would go into it. So after kind of the events of leaving Barovia, he would take Kent back with him to Waterdeep, and there would be a long talk with his previously unknown longtime relationship, Maluna, that he has a lot of history with. And they would go back to basically his home, the only place he's ever really known as home, which was a bar in Waterdeep. And after that, he would have told Kent to stay because he had to make a little trek. And I actually released the backstory I had for Ven on our Discord. And in his backstory, one of the places he went was Candlekeep, because Ven in the beginning was very hungry for knowledge, and he learned that Candlekeep was the largest library in all of Faerun. So obviously he wanted to go there and learn more. And they told him right in the beginning, in order to get into Candlekeep, you have to offer up a reasonably priced tome or a book of some kind to add to the library. And he only had 3. Well, he had 2 on him, which was 2 of the books that his grandmother gave him. And they had such sentimental value to him, he didn't want to give them up. So after the events of Strahd, he realized not needing those 2 tomes anymore. He went back to Candlekeep, gained his entrance, and like a bunch of kids with candy, you go and talk to a bunch of nerd wizards that love knowledge, and you go, hey, I'm 2 souls trapped in the same body. And they go, ooh, what's this kid I play with? So he kind of took a trip to Candlekeep, met some interesting people, and ultimately was introduced to someone who could have possibly helped. And most likely, I assume that was someone along the veins of Blackstaff, who was able to do something along the lines of a wish spell or enable or like kind of do the whole process. And the way I kind of saw it, and I was talking to Morgan about this, was kind of like a in theater doctor presentation where like there's just like a big hall, a big circular hall with all the wizards and they're like writing down notes, and like it's just like Blackstaff comes out like and we are going to take the subject here and do like this whole presentation separating them into two. And that's kind of how I figured Ven got separated. He ultimately wanted to do that after his job being done. He wanted to make sure Arsene could live the life that she wanted to as a dragon and fly free. So kind of in the end, when you see that last moment, Ven and Arsene are a little older. Arsene's a little bigger and definitely able to be ridden. So Kent would have been able to live out his dream of flying on on Arsene through the skies. And it would have ended on a tableau that just had Arsene and Kent written across the sky.
Yeah. Arsene and Kent.
With your hat never falling from your head.
Never falling off.
Yeah. And we also found out, because you released the backstory, that Petros from the podcast Waterdeep episode knows Ven very personally.
Yes, they were very, very close friends, and now they're very, very far enemies.
So yeah, I think that's everything for all of the characters here. So is there anything else before we go into questions that we would like to dive into? Anything you didn't get to talk about over the last 54 episodes? Any comments or anything along those lines?
Thanks for running our first long form campaign, Josh.
Yeah, you're the best.
Thank you, John, for telling me to record it.
We did it, guys.
We did it.
I also do want to note before there's questions about it, I am leaving the story of Callista and Mikhail open-ended because I do not want to make any decisions for Donna without her consultation. So if you have any questions about that, unfortunately, we will not be answering them because that is an adventure that is just going to be unknown. So I just wanted that for the record. All right, let's get into some questions. I've been introducing a lot of the topics we've been talking about. Hey, John, you wrote this awesome document. Would you like to start up and start handing out questions?
Sure. Let's go with this one because it's pretty relevant.
Before you say it, just remember that Celeste has to go pretty quick.
Oh yeah, true. That's true.
I got like 20 minutes.
We'll go with Celeste first.
Celeste questions. It's the Celeste Power Hour.
About.
Oh, here we go. We'll go with this one. Fabtastic asks, I don't know if this has been asked/answered. For Josh, when you have guests like Celeste and Sage, how much script/direction do you give them?
So we already talked about the fight portion. But I know, like, when Celeste, you were first showing up as Van Richten, we sat in a Zoom call or just over the phone or something like that, and we planned out what you would have on you, what you would know. We even talked about making Van Richten potentially female if you wanted to, but we ended up sticking to the text and just making him male. We just kind of talked about the character itself.
Yeah, I think what's great is, I mean, the way Josh approached it was very much like I was making a PC character, like introducing into the middle of a game. So essentially what you do is like, here are, the parameters of your character, right? And we had the monster stat block to go off of. And we just had a conversation about what our goals were, like what Van Richten's goals were for this campaign. And Josh was like, okay, this is what's going on. And this is how you plug into the story. And then after that, he really was hands off and just kind of let me do and say whatever the hell I wanted in whatever accents, which was nice. I think you asked me to do a Southern accent.
I did, for the sole reason of the cleansing hand having a pretty large theme for that. That was the only accent. And you're like, okay.
Well, and it was really fun for me to switch from the Rictavio to all of a sudden Southern and I have a guns to Ken's head. That was really cool. But no, Josh gave us so much freedom to go over, we hit the crunchy stuff and then talked about where we kind of fit in the larger story, but really left it up to us. So, I mean, it was an immense pleasure working with Josh coming in as an NPC, because I know it can be sometimes clunky to bring people in as NPCs. But no, it was so easy and fabulous.
I also fully trusted you to do your thing, so that worked. And also with the cart, we created the cart together, like that artillery on top and the damage
Our
it would
battle
do.
cart.
Yes, that was a complete joint project.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I ever have a guest on, like the only guest NPCs we had were obviously Celeste and Sage, but we had the voice of Zach and Kristen. I didn't really get to have that experience with them, except for here's your lines, here's the reference audio, so that way you guys can hear the tone of the scene, hear the surrounding lines, here's what I was going for. But I gave them full, like, just go whatever direction you want. I talked to Zach about this last night because it was just hilarious. When he gave me the file for the finale, the amount of death sounds he had in that audio file were tremendous.
Yes.
Some that I would obviously never use. Him dying took 15 seconds or so of just.
The best part was when you told me that at the end of it, he was like, "Hey, if you want me to record any death sounds, just let me know at any possible time. You can just give me a call and I'll keep going." Can I please keep going?
Yeah, I mentioned to him last night. He was like, "I'll die for you anytime." So yeah, I like to allow you guys to bring your own flavor to it, because then what's the point of giving it to somebody else if I'm just going to give all the direction? And right. Obviously I know both of your work, and I've played with both of you and had you DM for me, and so I know you have your own particular brand to bring to the characters and to the show. So yeah, by all means, here's the goals, here's the outline, fill it in with all your stuff. Yeah.
I just want to say something real quick. Just Celeste, thank you so much for being the other half of my backstory and like all of those character moments, because up until the point where you came in, I kind of felt like, I got very, very comfortable with these guys, with these people, which is very great because it was my first D&D experience. And then when Celeste comes in and Josh is like, all right, we're going to do Kent-centric storyline. It was kind of just like, listen, hey guys, we have a guest, be on your best behavior. And so honestly, being able to like play off of you made me step my game up. So thank you so much for letting me do that.
It was awesome playing with you. I'm glad I taught you things.
Oh my God. Both in game and out of game, I am a better player because of all of our plan. So thank you.
Thank you.
So I think that answers that question. So John?
I think there was another Van Richten question. I think there's actually two. What was everyone's expression when Kent shot Van Richten down like a dog? And did anyone take a screenshot from Rogue 2015 on Discord?
Oh, we should have taken screenshots.
I do have a screenshot.
You do?
It's not of that.
Oh,
it's of the last episode, and it's of Nick when we were going through the epilogue, and it's the saddest sad boy face.
Oh,
I was just like, it's too precious. I have to have this.
We did post it in the Discord, but John,
Yeah,
if you
I'll pop
want
it
to
up right
your
now.
camera, feel free.
Yeah.
I might, because I was pretty hot on taking screenshots, but I also react very strongly to things, so I might not have had the wherewithal to
oh yeah, I remember that.
take screenshots, but I will go back into my computer and see if I did any of them at that time.
Yeah, how was your reaction, Drew?
How was my reaction?
Yeah.
It was shocked and ashamed.
Yeah.
Ashamed of Kent and of Nicholas.
Oh no.
No, mine was more of a like, oh fuck, insight checks are so good.
I remember there was a moment where I went, what? And then I looked back through all the notes Josh had given me, and I was like, did I miss something? What? I was really confused. I was like, I don't think
we were talking about this before we went live on this, but the way that the finale was originally, like how it aired, like we recorded it, was after those two gunshots, like the kush. Celeste went, can I just do one more thing?
I was so confused.
We ended up moving it to like the end so it didn't ruin the like drama of it all. But God, it was so funny. Like, I see what you're saying.
I get it.
I understand, but also,
But also me time.
one last
Me
thing.
time. Add something.
Me time.
It's
I am
so
an
great.
actor.
Let me make Zach dying sounds, please.
Which that gunshot sequence, John showed me initially, and then we went back and forth. We went back and forth for a while of like specifically timing it out and like what we were gonna spread it out for. We wanted to make sure that was like solidified and as good as we could possibly make it.
Also, fun fact about that gunshot sound effect was the exact same gunshot sound effect we used all the way back in the beginning during Kent's nightmare sequence
Episode 17.
in the Hag House.
Oh,
When he shot himself.
That's ooh,
And for people who
that's a
didn't,
deep cut, yo.
yep.
That was really good.
And for anyone who just didn't realize it, the song that the finale ends with is the Gunman Comes Around theme song as well. Because we wanted to make sure it tied in with Kent being the narrator. I think there was something else sound-wise that we ended up doing too. I can't quite remember, but if it comes to me, I will bring it up.
You added the footsteps, and that was it.
Yeah, the footsteps.
The footsteps.
Footsteps. Okay, John. Table's yours, man.
Okay, we'll go with this one. So, this is from Polish Ogre on Discord. That should tell you enough about this question already, as it being from Polish Ogre. I hear Van Richten's lady single now. What are Kent's chances when this is over? Also, too soon?
How dare you?
So, Sage, what's Kent's chances with Esmeralda?
I don't really know.
I don't think.
Like a billion.
Yeah.
I feel like Esmeralda would be mostly a lesbian, but was just into Van Richten through a weird mentor relationship. Also, Van Richten seems to get himself into a lot of those.
On a very similar note, we had this whole thing that like Kent has his like first like maybe I'm queer thought with Van Richten. So maybe it's just like a gay thing about Van Richten, just turning ladies and gents into a like maybe I am
into Van Richten. So charismatic.
I don't think Van Richten ever discriminated. I think he just has that like he also has that tragicness to him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Your thing. I think Van Richten's hot.
I
No,
also think
dead.
Van Richten's hot. We lit him on fire.
Wow.
Nicholas.
Wow, he died as he lived. Hot.
Oh, God, I just got to say.
Ended
it's lit.
Strahd. There's no more fun.
Lit.
It is lit.
All right.
Thank you guys for double checking with me to take the bullets out of the gun because I could have seen that got going so badly.
Oh my god.
Okay, so
Why are you shooting at us?
So there actually is another question for Celeste. Specifically, it says, question from C-Tate on Discord. Question for Celeste, kind of. Was there a lot of whiplash to, hey, guest in the finale of the show? Oh no, I'm dead in one episode.
I think if I wasn't also a DM for an actual play podcast, this probably would have like been more surprising or hurt more. But because I am a DM for another show and Josh is a DM and we talk about DMing all the time, I think it was okay because I was like, ooh, this is serving the story so well. I'm so glad I died and it was terrifying and horrible. Like, yes, I was absolutely surprised. I wasn't expecting to walk into that situation, but it was, something I really wanted to fulfill and push because I knew that my part in dying would make this story, would contribute in the best way. So, I mean, yes, I was definitely surprised. Don't get me wrong, which is why it hurt, but it hurt in a good way. So that was what that whiplash was like. I definitely wasn't expecting. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be there to fight Strahd at the end. I'm going to help and it's going to be amazing. And I'm like, oh no, super no. I know. And I was on the because I was planning to come and record the finale with you guys. Like I had the dates and I was all ready. And Josh was like, well, I guess you don't have to come back. I'm like,
I said you could though.
You did,
I
yeah.
could come just to hang out.
You're like, no, it's
In the background.
okay.
I don't want to distract you with my face.
Well, as we go into also, and this came.
That does bring me back. That does bring me back to when Celeste was with one of our episodes when Ferguson was around.
Episode
And
26 was the ending of the
Celeste
gunman comes around.
spent like the whole time in the chat just ragging on Ferguson, and it was fucking great.
That episode had one of my favorite moments, and I thank you for Celeste for this because I never forget it. Was when you in chat literally created his backstory for him.
Backstory. Yeah,
So she was just going off like Drew was like, so it was from this town, and she was just like dropping names and like dropping all this shit, and it was like we couldn't stop fucking laughing.
Oh,
Dude, that's why I wasn't allowed at the finale. Otherwise, I
I think that and like when Van Richten turned to Kat and was like, "Stop being a baby back bitch." Like,
Yeah.
Oh, that was so good.
But
you've given us some really great moments on this podcast, Celeste.
so
Really?
with you dying also, and this goes back to Celeste and I have talked about this a lot. We have very similar trains of thought to the point that we were like, we're the same person. So I know that you would have also done the same to me, and I would have
hell yeah.
also been okay with it. I fully expected
Yes.
Randy to die. Like during that fight, just be
Aw,
like,
Randy.
it feels great, doesn't it? And be like, it served a purpose. Yeah, fully expected, but I trusted that you'd be okay with it as I'd be okay with it from my end. Please don't kill me for the sake of it.
and I didn't. You've lived through 2 of games of mine since then.
Almost killed one of them.
The 3rd one's gonna get you.
Oh no. So next question, John. Do you
Someone
want
else
to pick
want to
next
ask a
one?
question?
Yeah. Do you want to pick someone else?
Someone else are in these. Someone else are in these.
Yeah.
Other people. I see other people in this document. Morgan, you ask a question.
I ask a question. Okay.
Let's see. Does Ven wear his robe with 127 belts under his armor, or does he just leave the belts at Argynvost's Holt? Is there just a pile of belts on the floor when he goes to bed? That's from Kazel from the Discord.
Yeah.
I have a full Lulu from Final Fantasy X image in my head.
I love Lulu.
But he did have a ton of belts, and he looked like an Organization 13 member from Kingdom Hearts. But when he turned into Swoldalar, he kind of like got too big, and all the belts just kind of broke and snapped. So that's how I kind of see what happened. He was and it was just like, well, I need new clothes. And that's kind of what happened. So he probably picked them all up off of the floor so that no one else had to clean them up.
Nice.
Let's see what else is here. I'll maybe do 2 more and then we'll pass it off because there are a lot of questions.
Actually, since Celeste is here, I think that this one, the one that my cursor's on, would be a great conversation for all of us to have. Because everybody here has played various PCs in TI stuff.
Wait,
Oh,
I don't
this one
see your
here?
cursor.
On the top,
6th one
Right
down
out.
from Saracena.
6th one down from Saracena.
Wait, hold on. Sarah Senna of all moments?
Next
No,
one.
of all the PCs.
No, one. Yeah,
of
that
all
one.
PCs
That one.
on the show to
Yeah,
date, including other modules. Who would be your ideal team to take down Strahd?
Ooh.
Ooh. I
I have
mean,
an answer. My answer is all PCs.
All of them.
I live them.
An army of PCs.
Tank can have a UV light strapped to Tank's head.
yeah. I mean, definitely Tank needs to be there, just holding down Strahd, just holding him like a
Mhm.
sneaky little,
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
pressing his head into his metal chest.
And that's it. That's the party. Just Tank.
That's it.
I think actually just Tank.
Yeah, just Tank.
Drew, any of your
Let's see.
characters in particular?
I mean, Krusk, yeah. I like Krusk.
Okay.
I would probably. I would actually be cool with a Roz Charlotte team up. Just all of the fucking radiant damage.
Sounds about right. John?
of all the characters that I've played, there's two that come to mind that I would want to fight Strahd. One would be Heinz, good old Heinz, coming into Sam City. And the other one would be good old Casey Brickwood on the East Farting Brickwoods, coming in to wreck shit. Definitely.
We should like a god squad of Roz, Charlotte, and Casey would be good.
I thought we should do like the best of TI moment. It's like a one shot of like the best of TI characters, and we all just play our favorite characters that we've ever played in a one shot kind of thing.
That would be fun.
It's Roscoe.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
What's all this then?
Hey, what's all this? Hey, hey, baby.
Sage, what about you?
Oh, to go and fight Strahd, I would go with perhaps. I mean, Esmeralda's pretty great, but my Asmar Paladin that I played in our
Podcast
Tomb of Annihilation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Paladin. Oh man, a Paladin would just wreck house.
God squad.
Nick, what about you, man?
And tank to hold him down.
Tanks on
I would probably play Felix because I haven't had enough time with him, and he would be great. He'd be better than Ismark, I think. Like, you know, and just like in the corner doing little pew, just checking. Yeah. So
I was gonna say Zabby initially, but I would not want to put him into that situation ever. He's been through enough shit. So I'd probably say Morgan Amberhall. Yeah, Morgan be up in there, just Eldritch Blast, bang bang assholes the whole time. Yeah.
But we all know the real team.
We're gonna bang some assholes.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a different
What's wrong with
podcast,
that?
pal.
The butt plug of Raven.
As long as we all agree that the real team is Tank and Chipper.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes!
True.
Yeah, need some Chipper all the time. Okay. Morgan, do you want to pick one last one? Then we'll switch off.
One more. Yes. Okay. Let's see. This is also from Sarah Senna. Could a TPK or total party kill have been a probable ending? I always built Strahd up as a scary, intimidating, and Ismark did seem close.
Yeah. You guys know Josh. You would have fucking killed us.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Easily.
I didn't want to.
He would have felt, I will say this, he would have felt really bad about it. And as someone who, like, we were in the same apartment when we were doing those last two episodes, those last two streams. And I don't know if he slept very much during it. Like, he was just in the living room pacing and like thinking. So there was a lot of weight on him for that. He would have felt really bad about it, but he would have killed us.
Yeah. I would have felt bad from multiple perspectives, one of which being an audience-based bit, because if you're with the podcast for 54 episodes and they just die at the end, it's D&D, but from a story perspective, that sucks. Even talking to my dad, he's like, I expect everyone to die. I'm like, okay, I mean, I guess it's possible. Sure.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah, thanks, Dad. But yeah, I did not take it off the table as a possibility. There was also a huge possibility that was going to happen during the Baba Saga fight or the vampire fight in episode 34.
Yep.
There was two major possibilities there. Strahd, I think you guys would have been fine because you had all the special equipment. So if you were all in the room at the same time, it would have been a breeze. That's why he had to kind of section off a little bit. He also had some AoE spells he was holding on to blast everybody. But yeah, I did not take that option off the table. So
I love how at the beginning of the module they're like, "Hey guys, people are gonna die. It's gonna suck." Like in Curse of Strahd, they're like, "Just prepare your party for that inevitability." And DMs really do need to prepare themselves for killing characters. I don't think I'd killed so many characters until I ran Curse of Strahd. I felt like a monster. So Josh, you handled being a monster with grace.
Thanks. I think.
Okay.
Dungeon monster.
Very quick question, Celeste. When you have to go, is it possible to stay on
I will
the
just
call,
leave this
mute
open.
yourself? Yes, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah. So I'm so sorry, folks. I have to dip out early, but I just want to say before I go that being part of this was so special and the show was so special. And I cannot wait to hear what comes next for taking initiative.
Thank you for playing
Thank you
with
so
us,
much.
Celeste.
Thanks.
Any freaking time.
Noted.
All right, bye guys.
Bye.
See ya.
All right, I'm pretty sure I need to just sort some windows out a bit because everyone swapped places. So
Yeah.
when someone picks the next question, I'm going to handle this.
Drew, pick a question.
Oh, let's see. This is from Ivor on the Discords. After Curse of Strahd finished, how did you guys decompress? Is there a ritual or anything similar you individually or as a group perform to move on after a campaign runs its course? I mean,
I don't.
you jump on
I think that for me, it took me a while to realize that I don't have any further plans to play Kent. There was an attachment that I grew to this character, and it kind of brought back up after listening to the last episode about how much I miss and want to play Kent again, maybe in the future. But getting excited about the next character was how I decompressed. Moving. D&D's doesn't end. You can always keep playing another module, another game. There's always, luckily there's a big community out there that's like always open to play games. So I think focusing on the next one was the best thing for me to do.
Yeah.
Bucky, did you want to go?
No, go for it.
Okay. This comes as no surprise, but I'm very chatty. So after basically every session or everything, I tend to talk it out. So back when Josh and I were living in different places, we would just sit on the phone for like an hour and a half and just kind of talk everything out and chill. And now that he is slowly moving into my apartment, that is a magical thing that I can just turn to him and be like, yo, I've got feelings and I want to talk this out. Like feel better about it. And now that I live with Bucky too, I get to do it to both of them at the same time. It's fucking great. So I sort of dealt with all of that stuff by just talking it out.
Yeah, I usually called you within 60 seconds of the game ending. And then we just talked for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And Morgan's absolutely right. Like even before, we were sleeping at the same place or living together, whenever I finished the session, I was always, even if it was 4 hours long, 5 hours long sometimes, I was wide awake and I was just pacing. Either handling all the sad stuff that happened or just going, I didn't expect this. What's the next step? And it was just sleepless. But I enjoyed it, and it was kind of masochistic in that way. Especially, I had to dive into some real dark places at times, especially right before the time jump. Everything with the half party kill and everything, Van Richten, because, Celeste is still a dear friend. I don't want to kill her character. But I'm glad everyone understood that this was for the story and for the audience. And I thank you guys for trusting me with that, because I know these are sometimes fragile moments and emotional moments, and allowing me to have some control over that is special and is not gone unnoticed. So thank you. All the windows are fixed, by the way. So thank you for bearing with me, Twitch crowd.
I would have to say, as far as decompressing, I didn't really have to do a lot of decompressing after Strahd, mostly because from my time in training as an actor, I kind of learned to separate myself from the character. So like once I'm in the mode of the character, that's what I'm in, and then after I'm out of it, I'm back to myself. And in my mind, Ven is a character, and he's a character I care about deeply, and I don't know if I'm ever going to get a chance to play him again, but throughout the rest of my life, Ven will always be a part of me. He was a part of the game, yes, but he's also a part of myself, and no one could ever change that, and no one can change the memories that I personally created for my character. So even though I'm not playing him anymore, and I may not get the chance to play him again, those memories are going to be stuck with me for the rest of my life. And him as a character is never going to leave me.
I got drunk.
There it is.
There it is. Done.
I got drunk.
Got it in one.
Yep. Josh, I just have a quick question.
Of
So
course.
so a little peek behind the curtain. We kind of do like bi-weekly recording sessions every once in a while. Sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. But how long after a recording session do you already start planning the next session? Because I know you
Seconds.
have like long stories planned, but how much do you like change already and start going, oh, what next session? And I guess Bucky for you as well, since we're already in our
The
next
second you hit stop recording.
Yep. Sometimes during the game.
Yeah.
So I usually do that right after the game. I've gone over note-taking processes before for me. I like John and I have very, very different styles of how we plan for games. When we're done, I have a feeling of where it's going to go, a couple different directions. He has a lot of bits of paper. I put everything right on my
Oh,
iPhone.
my notes.
Yep, iPhone notes on the subway, or sometimes I'll just kind of post up in the shower and just kind of go, because I can hear myself better, just acoustics wise. So I can work on voices, I can say things out, and if it doesn't sound right, I'll get rid of it. A lot of pacing and music. But normally, as soon as the game is done, I'm already going to the next session. Procrastinate a little bit. Once it starts to get closer, or when ideas pop up, I'll jot them down, and then we'll hop into the next session. That's me.
Cool.
Yeah. So who was asking questions now? Was that Nick?
Drew.
Drew.
Let me pick another one here. I don't know why John Wayne voiced.
I don't know.
You know what? Let's do this one from Agri or Michael on Discord. My question is for the current characters individually. If you woke up with your house on fire, only thing you are on you are your clothes, or the clothes on your back, and you had time to grab 3 things, what would they be?
And Sage, if you want, you can answer as Kara.
I like
Sweet.
that idea. I'm gonna say Krusk would grab probably his pack, and then Charlotte, and that would be it. That's all he needs.
Aww.
Aw.
Yeah, I would probably say the same thing, the reverse. So, pack.
Although Charlotte carrying Krusk out of a fire would be very
She's
good.
swole. She's strong as fuck. That tends to be a trend for all of my characters. I tend to play women who are just fucking shredded. But then if we had a baby, that too.
Yes, obviously, if it's post game, baby gets grabbed as well.
Yeah.
If it's post epilogue.
Yeah.
What about Kara? What would Kara do?
The only thing I need is my weapon. Everything else will just weigh me down.
What about Kent?
I'm assuming Kent's always sleeping with his hat over his eyes, so like that'll be on him. He doesn't have to worry about that. He'd probably grab his gun, his notebook, and maybe. I mean, it would be a toss-up between Van Richten's hat or the bag of shared holding, but I'm guessing I'm going to go with the hat. The hat of disguise.
And what about Ven?
Ven would grab the bag that has his grandmother's books.
Mm-hmm.
He would grab his cloak that he got from Argynvost, and he'd grab Kent.
Thank you. Because I'd be sleeping so deep. I'd be like, ooh, it's so warm.
Or trying to decide between the hat or the bag. Like, hat. Fire. Going
It's like, not enough time.
Given to me by Van Richten. Simple as.
Sage, would you like to ask a question?
Ooh, yes, I saw one. From Castle from the Discord. Did Charlotte keep her last name when she got married, or is she a Potter too?
She is a Potter. She has a terrible relationship with her parents. So something I should release is a lot of Charlotte's backstory writing that I did. I can probably put that in the Discord. But Charlotte's parents were not very much on board with her running off to become a cleric, and very less thrilled with running off to get married to a half-orc. So she doesn't talk to them anymore. She's a Potter through and through.
Nice.
One of about 1,000.
Yeah, there are so many. There are so many. If you guys, that's a cool, like, good moment, good note. If you guys are running your campaigns and you want to have like a connection to TI, you can just create a fucking Potter sibling. Let us know about it. We'll add them.
Or Brickwood.
Yeah.
There's a list. Yeah, we should release that document.
We have like 15. Kreska's like 15 siblings that are canonical. Like, and just make one up.
Yeah, just go.
The Potter
Anywhere
v.
along the sword
Brickwood
coast
feud.
you go, the Potters are there.
Doesn't have to be a particular race. Doesn't have to be anything like that. They can be anything you want.
Canonically, all of his 15 siblings are various other races. They're all adopted.
Yeah.
Sage, would you like to go with another one since that was a quick one?
Yes. From Kintaro, question for all of you: what is your character's biggest regret through all of this?
Site checks.
Good question.
Not doing them.
Well, if it wait, which character? Because if it's Krusk, he has none. Like, well, I guess not getting a stab Strahd in the face.
Did Ferguson have any regrets? Because he didn't seem like a regretful person.
Dying.
No. Dying would have
Valid.
been one because he just stabbed Strahd in the face.
What about Ben?
His biggest regret was probably making Arsene sad when he said that being merged was a mistake.
Oh,
Aww.
Rafdag was like, I regret vampires.
Hashtag regret vampires.
What about Kent?
I feel like Kent is not a specific moment, but yet all of the negative that has been going on, Kent would just live with the idea of like, if I was only a little bit faster at whatever, or if I reacted
a bit taller, if I
a
was
little ball. Basically just like always dwelling in the what ifs, not so much a regret of a specific moment, because at the end, we got out of there alive. But
Some of you.
yeah, some of us, exactly. Basically anything that really hurt his friends, he would have felt like he could have done more.
What about Esmeralda?
I think her biggest regret would have been that she was able to fall prey to Strahd and feeling like that's her biggest failing in life, because it's just absolutely the one thing she rails against her like entire existence.
I believe also in the book, Esmeralda is not turned right away. I think I got the idea of Esmeralda being turned from Dice Camera Action.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, the way they took care of Strahd was a whole other... It was like 3 rounds, done. They like put him... I'm not going to give spoilers, but it was real quick. If you're very interested in like how else did other people take care of Strahd, watch Dice Camera Action just for that. But yeah, Esmeralda being turned and adding that to Van Richten's backstory was just too good to pass up. So...
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, very interesting for her.
Nick, questions?
Hey, sure. I think we can answer these two. They're both asked by Rafnag. Why does Kent in the end have a Barovian accent? And were those random characters mentioned at the end your PCs for season 2?
We have talked about the second question, so I will very carefully say this. If you have a guess about those characters, something about that guess is wrong. That's all I will say. You'll have to wait.
As for the Barovian accent, Kent, after his mission, we mentioned before, would have gone on to use the hat of disguise from Van Richten to pass unnoticed and spread his stories as a dual bard gunslinger, kind of helping out anybody who might need any help, but also staying out of any big conflicts until somebody pulls him out of his rut.
Would you like to do another question?
Oh, sure. Next question. Did Charlotte ever use the symbol of Ravenkind, and does her kid just have the world's best nightlight?
That's from Kazel.
Yes.
You mean the butt plug of Ravenkind?
The butt plug of Ravenkind. Hope you don't put that near your child.
Yeah. I don't know. I definitely didn't think about that beforehand. It's just one of those things where I honestly think Charlotte probably got rid of anything that was related to Barovia of like, I need to get this bad attitude out of my fucking house and like my life, just get rid of it. So you know what? I think she would have given it to Esmeralda.
Smart.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay.
That leads to a secondary question though. What about the Sun Sword? The tome
What
is just a
about
tome.
love?
Oh, John, with Ven, would Ven have turned the Tome of Strahd over to Candlekeep?
Hmm.
We never talked about this before. I just thought of it.
That's a good question. What the fuck would he do with the Tome of Strahd?
And Drew, what would Cross do with the Sun Sword?
Kept it. It's a sword made of light.
Good answer.
That's fucking awesome.
That's a solid answer. Yeah, he probably would have given that to Candlekeep because, like, I feel like there probably were some like whispers here and there of like when I brought up the town, like Barovia, like maybe some of the mages or like people that were there could have heard of it, and I was like, oh, here's a whole fucking book about the tale of the person that ran it that we killed. And they'd be like, oh, I want to read that. And they probably would have just given it to Candlekeep because I don't need it anymore. Strahd's dead.
My question is, do we all think they'd be very disappointed at the ending of the Tome of Strahd? They're just like, that's it?
Yeah, probably. It probably would be.
It goes around.
They'd be like, that's it. And I'd be like, right?
It goes around Candlekeep.
What does that take?
Like, have you read it yet? And it's like, yeah. And they're like, no spoilers, no spoilers. I haven't read it yet.
I haven't read the token.
Well, canonically, for Storm Kings, if we ever go to Candlekeep, we now know that tome is in there.
Yeah.
All right. So we have a couple questions left.
I
really want to know what Polish asked me. Because there's a question here that he said, caution, don't let Josh read.
Okay, it's not even a question.
Okay.
No, it's the last one. Let's do all the other ones first.
Okay. No.
Yeah. We can end that. We'll end that. We'll end with that one.
4 more.
Yeah. So Kit Battlebeard asks,
Kit.
now that everything is done, how do you feel about how it ended and about your character progression? And also, Sarah Senna says, are you satisfied with how your character's arc ended?
Look at that. That's like a twofer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
For me, I mean, Krust didn't have much of an arc. He showed up with his wonderful wife, and they fought a vampire, and that was their arc.
I will add on to say that I am especially satisfied with how Maureen came back at the end.
Yes, that was.
And in my Heart of Dreams, Charlotte dispels that shield and lets that spirit of Maureen go so that she can be with Roz.
We did talk about that being in canon, but we ended up not recording it.
Yeah.
But yes, I would say from the DM standpoint, yes, that happened.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
I sleep with you, so you better be.
That couch was gonna just come a bit tonight.
Yeah.
That couch is pretty comfy though.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Free IKEA couch, you know.
Hell yeah. Did anyone else not answer that yet?
Let's see. Am I satisfied with how my character arc ended? Yes, very. How do I feel about how it ended? Vindicated.
Vindicated.
Now,
yeah.
John, also, I mean, episode 1, you said something that formulated how your whole character arc was going to happen.
Yeah.
That was saying, my grandmother's from Barovia.
Yeah.
Without that, this whole story would have been changed.
Thanks, Grandma.
So
My grandmother is from Barovia.
So as players, if you have
Just say that
something
in
that you
character.
want your character to do and it's okay to do, say it. Because that DM can take it and go, oh, I'm going to use that. Even if it's a very,
Make
very
bold
small
choices.
detail. And also realize it's ammunition for later.
Yeah.
All right.
Very real.
So
2 left.
2 left. Can I ask one?
Go for it.
I can answer that one. I don't want to answer that one. Of all the moments where someone surprised you during a session, what is your favorite?
You know what? Nick surprises me all the fucking time with how goddamn hilarious he is. Like sometimes he'll just say something and I'm like, you fucking genius, man. Like it takes me off guard. So I will say the moments that were my favorite, I can't even bring them all together, but most of my favorite moments have been Nick just saying something devastatingly funny.
Oh, thank you.
That question was from Sarah Senna, by the way. I forgot if I said that. For me, also, Nick, how you handled acting that last bit and being able to keep that. One of the parts in the back of my head was like, Nick's just, maybe he'll oversell it. Maybe he'll just be too goofy for it. You sold the shit out of it.
Sure did.
Thank you.
And that's honestly why we didn't question it so much when we didn't roll insight checks. We didn't do anything. You seemed normal. You seemed chill. And it wasn't until after that session I was like, Nick was really quiet. That's weird, right? Josh was like, I don't know. Is it? I was like, yeah, it's weird. It's fucking weird that Nick was so quiet, wasn't it? Like, that's what got me and Morgan as a player starting to be like, something's wrong.
Yeah, trying to hold that in between sessions was we've mentioned it before. I forgot if we keep it in the episodes or not, but Nick's like, I'm gonna look at Josh's face, and everyone's like, just don't. But those 2 weeks I was like sweating. I was like, I can't ruin anything. I was like, Nick, hide in your DI bay at work. I'm gonna hide in my edit bay. Don't talk to anybody. It worked. But I was really proud of you for that. I was very surprised.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Just how well that just worked out. John.
Oh, I'm like struggling to think of anything. Like obviously you guys already said Nick fucking popping out with the amazing comedy bits.
You can say Nick too. We can just keep on boosting his ego up.
I know. I'm like getting overwhelmed right now, guys. I don't know how to react. Nobody look at me, please. We're on camera right now.
I don't know. I feel like honestly, a lot of it is also, I mean, not even with what's happening. Like to give a little behind the scenes, like we've been recording a bunch for season 2 already, and sitting on the other side of the DM screen, like I'm kind of surprised every time I'm sitting there, and I'm surprised by a lot of the choices you guys make. And that surprise kind of leads to, all right, how do I adjust things going forward to like, one, better the game, and also two, like create compelling stories and interesting characters and like an arc that you guys would enjoy and like feel happy with. So I feel like that's kind of my surprise, is now sitting in the role of a DM on the other side going, all right, what are you guys going to throw at me this time?
It's fun, isn't it?
It is fun. It's fun, and it's in a very different way than being a player.
Also, if we make a dumb decision, you shouldn't be shocked by that. Like,
I mean, I'm not shocked. It's just, all right, how do I now? I got to think of how this is going to come back to bite you in the ass. Oh, look, a dragon.
Oh, look, a dragon.
Drew, what about you, man?
You know, I'm not going to say Nick, and I'm not going to say Nick because thinking back to the Van Richten cart, I'm going to go with the Van Richten cart. It was probably my favorite surprise because it was a ridiculous cart.
It was a great cart, though. You're just like, at the end of it, you listen to the script, you're like, I want that fucking cart.
Celeste and I...
Why didn't I think of that?
Celeste and I, during the whole time we were writing, we were like, ooh, let's write that down. What's the damage?
Around like
Too much. We have to dial that back. Oh, maybe. And then
we're walking around like a bunch of fucking schmucks. Meanwhile, there's this cool cart out there that we don't have.
You just hear... Oh, man. So much fun.
Yeah.
Now, Sage, except for 53 and 54, you were an audience member for this. So either the parts that you played and or the parts you were an audience, what was the moment that surprised you the most?
I would say maybe like not necessarily the moment, but the thing that surprised me the most was true. All the different characters you played, they were all so different. They were just like not even like related to each other whatsoever. Everything like every time this character, I was like just out of left field. I was like, let's see how he fits in with the party.
Answer is barely.
I think Josh told me, because I wasn't with the podcast at this time, but Josh told me that like Drew struggled to find Mikhail's voice for like a long time.
Hello.
And then when he finally settled on it, everybody was like, that's the one? It's like, aw. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
So good.
You can't deny that was the best decision.
It was.
Drew does.
It was.
The one good decision that I ever
Drew
made.
really does some like very awesome, like very fun voices for his characters. I will say that.
Definitely.
His one coming up for Storm Kings is fucking great.
Yep. Which at the end of this stream, we will announce when that will start releasing.
Hey!
But before we do that, because
We have one more question.
Yeah, we have two. One I don't know.
Well, you don't know that one. The other one you know.
The other one I know, and I'm going to ask and then respond to it. Kazel asks, Kent's hat is a low-key magic item, so it never falls off. But what are the limitations of that? Assuming a mundane breeze can blow it over, but can a magical wind? What about just grabbing it off his head? Can he even take it off? One, he's taken it off before.
Yes.
That has happened.
I've also been.
It's not like stuck to his head, and he's like, I haven't seen the top of my head in years.
It's just under hats. It's just more hats that he just keeps taking off.
The hat of disguise is on the other hat.
I just had the idea that like he hasn't washed his hair in so long that it's just kind of like stuck a little bit. It's like a
There's that.
nasty. Yeah.
Also, has anyone here seen the 4th season of Arrested Development
Yes.
Nope.
with Ron Howard?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
He goes to get his haircut. Take your hat off. It's a hat-on haircut, man. I don't know.
To answer the magic question, Kent's hat cannot fall off without him wanting to. Period. So even a magical wind or anything, I think the only thing that can break that, and I'll make this canon, is a wish spell or something similar to that.
Or if he's distracted by a beautiful woman who's like, ooh.
Or beautiful
I'm just
man.
kidding.
We have covered this.
Or a beautiful man.
Yeah.
Or beautiful person.
Covered that.
He'll take it off whenever he wants. Oh, hello.
Now imagine going on a quest to get a wish spell just to ruin Kent's hat.
Just to fuck up.
I'm just gonna say Vent knows.
That's a West Farthing
That's a
Brookwood
West
kind of
Farthing.
thing if I've ever heard one.
Oh, they're gonna go out and they're gonna make a
Family
wish.
leaves one day, and the East Farthing are like, where the fuck did they go?
Kent's just walking, just hears. He's like,
That's actually a question. Before we get to this last thing, that's actually a question I wanted to ask Nick. When Nick gets back, do you think he would even care about the East Farthing, West Farthing feud anymore after what's happened?
Oh my god! So he would walk back into town, and like obviously he's been through some stuff. He's seen a lot. He would be like, "Oh god, none of this matters," until he sees a West Farthing Brickwood, and then he's like, "This motherfucker."
Fucking
Coming
Kill
over
Bill
and
siren start.
Coming over in my part of the house, eating my goddamn Cheerios.
and we've covered
Wouldn't
this.
kill
Nick would
them.
have Honey Nut Cheerios, not regular Cheerios.
That's true.
Regular Cheerios are terrible.
I would be like, you'd be fine with it until one day one of the West Farthings would have eaten your leftovers. You'd be like, that motherfucker.
I get home ready to pour myself a bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios, and I realize some West Farthing person switched them out with regular Cheerios.
I
I'm
if we ever play Kent again and we're doing West Farthings versus East Farthings, please can we have Jess play your nemesis?
I would love it. I would love it.
Please have her be the leader of the West Far. Yeah.
Well, it's
Versailles Jess is Nick's fiance.
Yes.
it's 10 p.m., which means we have to wrap up very, very shortly.
Last question.
So last question.
All right.
Who's going to
All
read
right,
this?
No, you're going to uncover that.
It's Josh.
Yeah,
It's
just
all
uncover
Josh.
that and just reset the color of it.
Okay, I'm just going to do this. From Polish Ogre. Dear Josh, when you invited, you are a goddamn monster. Remember cinnamon sticks. Justice for cinnamon sticks.
Yeah.
I know what I did. I'll do it again to protect the party.
Sage, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. That was my alternate surprising moment, was Cinnamon Stick's brain getting eaten out by zombies.
Yep. Yeah, that was a decision that I made, and I don't regret.
It was the best one.
It was.
I'm I'm with you 100%, honey. That was the right decision for it.
Thank you.
So suck it. Polish.
So that is all the questions that's all the questions.
That's the end.
That's also
Strahd. We did it,
the end
guys.
of Strahd. So congratulations, everyone. We got through it.
We did
Thank you,
it.
everyone,
Thank
for
you
listening.
so much.
It's been a long 2 years of just bi-weekly horror. So thank you so much for sticking with us for it, and for enjoying the trip with us and feeling the emotions with us, and Sage for joining us at our digital table.
Thank you.
And Celeste, I know you can't talk right now because you just seem like your video's frozen. But you know,
a nice picture to be frozen.
It's good. But thank you as well. And before we go and say who we are, John, new DM of Taking Initiative, would you care to announce the release date and again remind people what we will be running?
So yes, we are going to be running for season 2, The Glorious Tale, and I have the book right here with me, of Storm King's Thunder.
Yeah.
Storm King's Thunder. The Glorious Tale of season 2 will be starting on a very kind of fitting date, considering it's the day we finished playing Curse of Strahd. June 3rd.
Yep.
June 3rd will be when episode 1 comes out, and then the Friday before will be early access for patrons, which I believe is May 31st. Yeah, May 31st. So yes, you will be able to join us again for some Glorious Tales in 3 months.
Plus Hannah.
And
Plus Hannah.
Plus Hannah.
We're increasing the ladies in this podcast.
Woo!
It's awesome.
Yeah.
You need more NPCs, you know.
Yeah.
You know what to call. Don't.
I'll make some calls, don't worry.
Venture Maidens in our podcast? What? No.
What?
Anytime.
No.
Never heard of.
Got your Adventures Maidens on our podcasts.
So also before we go, I want to remind people that we have an Idle Champions Gold Chest code that is good for the entire month of March. You can find that in the description for episode 54. We will be continuing to work with them, and you just may want to keep an ear out for some stuff in the future dealing with Idle Champions. So feel free to hop into the description, get your gold chest code. And also, Vivka's character, the Black Viper, is now out. So if you unlock her, you can use the gold chest code and potentially get equipment for that character as well. As long as you have the character unlocked, you can get the items for them. So just keep that in mind. Also, we have a giveaway going on with new friends of the show, Elderwood Academy. You can use the hashtag #TakingElderwood to enter into the giveaway. It will be going until the end of March as well. Specifics are on the Twitter page. I believe I pinned it. So just tweet out that hashtag and you will be entered into the giveaway. One of the prizes will be a hex chest. It's like a small dice thing. We're going to be sending pictures out. I'm pretty sure it's behind you there, babe, if you would like to open that box and show it off. So one of the prizes will be a hex chest. The other one will be a hex chest and a Curse of Strahd book signed by the entirety of the cast and crew from season 1. That includes Sage, Celeste, Katie, Neil, Zach, Kristen, and all the cast you see here. And Donna as well, because she signed the book. So those two will be the prizes. So again, enter with Taking Elderwood as a hashtag for Twitter. Yeah, make sure you do that before March ends. Other than that, we will be taking a break from Talking Initiative until Storm King's Thunder starts. We'll be releasing a couple bits of content here and there when we can. We have some plans going on, but we'll be a bit quiet for a while. So if you'd like to talk to us, please talk to us on Twitter and Discord. You can find those links at takinginitiativepodcast.com in the Find Us tab. So, for the last time in a while, I'm Josh Perault. I have been your DM for Taking Initiative. You can find me on Twitter at XyroxisTheBeard. New DM John, would you care to introduce yourself?
I am Jonathan Buckmaster, aka your friendly neighborhood Bucky, and I will be your DM for season 2. You can find me on Twitter at Bucky_Masters.
Nick.
Hi, I'm Nick, and I have been and will forever be Kent Brickwood of the East Farthing Brickwoods. You can find me on all social medias at Nico Figs, NIKOFIGS. Got some good stuff coming out soon. So excited to share it with you all.
Drew. Can't hear you.
You're
did.
muted.
I forgot there was a siren outside. I muted myself.
Ah.
I'm Drew Tillman, and I've played like half the PCs on this. Probably will in the future. And you can find me on Twitter at cyber_Sasquatch. You can find me on all sorts of things. Come talk to me. Love talking to all of y'all. Yay.
Morgan.
Hey, I'm Morgan Conroy, and you can find me on Twitter at Thistle Raven to talk about all things nerd, D&D related, or yelling at the MTA. And you can also find me at Morgan E. Conroy, where you can listen to me talk about New York City politics stuff and national politics stuff. And it's getting really real. So you can follow me there for more information. Please remember to register for vote. I don't have an election for you guys as of right now, but certainly things are coming up.
And our very special guest, Sage.
Yes, so I'm Sage. I played Esmeralda, the NPC. And if you would like to see more of Celeste and myself, you can find us at the Venture Maidens Twitch channel. We play every other Wednesday in a homebrew setting. And yeah, it's a great time. You get to listen to my velvety whisper of a puff of smoke voice.
And since Celeste is not here, you can also find Celeste, Bucky, and myself over on the Nerd Immersion channel. Bucky and I are every other Monday for the Princess of the Apocalypse game, and Celeste is on the other opposite Monday for the Rise of Tiamat game. You can also find Celeste's new show, Mistress of Modules, streaming on Sundays. You can find the first 2 episodes, which I was in with a couple of other people. So you can find those on the Nerd Immersion page and continue watching Celeste roll out this show and show off all these different modules going on.
Also, before we go, be on the lookout for some news where I'm going to be poking both Sage and Celeste to continue and finalize the Meanwhile in Barovia arc. So,
Sweet.
Cool. So,
Oh, that's right. We're going to the place.
you go into the place, you go and do the thing.
Gonna go to the place, gonna do the thing.
all right, that's it for us. Have a good night, everybody. Have a good day, depending on where you are, and we will talk to you soon.
Get some
Bye.
sleep.
Bye.
Bye.